Welcome back to Ask Rad Rat. This is a series where I answer all of your questions about skateboarding and skateboarding related topics. I have a few more different series that you can check out as well. So today we're talking about the 900 and the 1080. This is from B4 Hattie, and he asks, why was the first 1080 no big deal compared to the first 900? Was it just because the mega ramp is easier, or are we just desensitized to seeing crazy tricks? So let's talk about the 900 for a second. Now, a lot of people have asked me to talk about the Tony Hawk Toss Pappas controversy. I haven't seen that documentary yet, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But the 900 wasn't just some trick that Tony Hawk did one time. It was a big cultural thing because it had been built up to for a long time. There's a sequence in '96 in Big Brother where Tony Hawk does one, but he lands on it and then falls. I think he broke his rib. He stopped trying it for a while. Toss Pappas got close to one. Danny Way got close to one. There was Sluggo. There was Giovanni. The Italian guy who landed at second, he was getting close to him back then too. And it was like a race to do the trick. There were even 900 competitions at the time. There was one called the Globe 900. And it was like a best trick competition, but the whole point of it was to do a 900. And no one landed at that time. But still, like it wasn't just a trick, it was something that had been built up to. It was a race to get to it first. It was a really big deal. And then when Tony Hawk did it, it was in a competition. It was in front of a live audience. It was on TV. All that stuff really built it up to be a really huge deal. And so that's why, that was such a huge thing. And plus, it was really, really difficult from a technical side. So you see when he lands it, he's got to crouch down all the way because he's got so much spinning, a lot of spinning momentum that if he landed, he would slide right out. So he'd have to crouch down and try to absorb that impact. It's a really difficult trick that a lot of people had tried to do, and he did it first. So it was a big deal. Now with the 1080, it wasn't really as much of a big deal. For me, I didn't even know that it happened for weeks or months. I'm not even sure how long. And then when I saw it, it was just like, oh, that's really cool. And for me at least, I think the fact that it's on the mega ramp does kind of taint it a little bit. It's really cool. I'm not saying it sucked or anything, but it's not quite in the same realm as the 900. I think the 900 was probably harder just to see, he has to spin as fast as he possibly can. And with the mega ramp, you kind of have your speed built in. It's more about just having the guts to try it. And there was an interesting thing. It was in, I think, Tony Hawk's Trick Tips 2. I think there's some ramp stuff. And he talks about how a smaller ramp, like a mini ramp, is actually more dangerous than a vert ramp. Because if you're on the coping on like a 5-foot ramp and you fall, you might fall all the way to the flat and land on your face. When with a vert ramp, you land in the transition and you'll be okay, And so I think it's kind of even a step up from that. I haven't seen all of the bail attempts from the 1080, but I think if you didn't rotate all the way right, you just slide all the way down like a slide. Not to say it's not dangerous. Look at Jake Brown, he almost died skating the mega ramp. But I think, it's just not as much of a technically difficult thing. It's a really cool milestone, but I would love to see it on a vert ramp. But even if that were to happen, it wouldn't be as exciting anymore because the trick has been done in a different place. So I don't think there's ever going to be something quite like the 900 again, just because of all the cultural things that built up to it. But that was a good question. I'd like to hear all of your comments about that too. All right, the second thing is the effect of young skaters like Ryan Sheckler and Nyjah Houston on the modern skate industry. This is from Travis Wilson. So I don't know about them too much in particular, but back in the day, let's say you're in high school, at least in my high school, if you could do like a kickflip or a 360 flip, you were really good. If you could 50-50 on a curb, that was like a good trick. And I think for a lot of people, having the right kind of inspiration makes a big difference. So if everyone can just do basic tricks, and then you see the pros, well, they're pros. Like that's a different story. But then you have kids your age, when Nyjah Houston and Ryan Sheckler came out, they're like 13 years old, doing handrails and huge gaps. Sheckler was kickflipping off of buildings and stuff, and he's this tall. I think that really helped push the next generation of skaters and help them to realize that this stuff is possible. So I've talked about this a little bit before, but I think that the big reason why skateboarding keeps progressing more and more and more is because you have more influences the farther along we get. So back in the day, if you wanted to kickflip down a three set, you'd be the first person in the world to do it, and it was unthinkable and it was crazy. Now you see, Dave Baczynski do a kickflip down 20. When you're 10 years old, you're growing up and realizing that more stuff is possible. And having these young guys in particular show you that you can do it even younger. You can do it right now. You can go do that handrail right now. You're good enough. You could be good enough. And then it helped kind of inspire more and more kids. And I think that had probably a big effect on the current batch of pros who are around the same age back when they first came out. And then I wonder about established pros at that time. So if some 12-year-old kid comes out and he's doing some of the same stuff you are, maybe that really helped push things along in that way too. So I think they were pretty cool and a big inspiration at the time. I don't know about since then. I don't know about Ryan Sheckler's TV show that he had and all that kind of stuff, what effect that had. But as far as skateboarding and as far as, when they were still really young, I think they did a lot of good for skateboarding. So that's it for this time. Ask me all of your questions for the next batch, either in the comments below or on Twitter or Instagram. I'll see them all and I'll let you know whether I will do it or not. So thank you for all of the questions I've gotten so far. Until the next batch, here are some more videos that you may want to check out, and thank you for watching.